Hi, it's Dr. Scott Watson here. I received this package in the mail about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and in it were some wonderful letters from students at Pacific Middle School in Vancouver, Washington. It seems like a really neat place to live. It's close to the Oregon border and also close to the Pacific Ocean. You guys are very lucky out there. Anyway, but it was sent to me by band directors Sigman and Chelsea Blackburn, and in it were all these letters that their students had written me after a concert where they performed a piece of mine, Ghosts in the Graveyard. And I was so tickled to receive the letters, kind of fan mail, and there was a lot of questions in the letters, so rather than write back, I thought I would just make this video and respond to some of the letters. There was different categories of questions and types of letters. So for instance, this letter represents just a lot of really generous compliments that students shared with me about why they like the piece Ghosts in the Graveyard. For instance, Jordan said, "It was so much fun playing this piece. I will never forget the day I played Ghosts in the Graveyard." High praise, Jordan. Mara says, "Your piece was my favorite to play because it was not only fun to play, but it helped me my dynamics, staccato, learning new fingerings. You also learned new things like sforzando and the roadmap," which I think you meant the DS al coda that you had to follow in the piece. And there's a lot of chromaticism in this piece for a grade 1.5 level band piece. So the chromaticism maybe is why you had to learn those new fingerings, but it's also the chromaticism that gives it the spooky sound. And anyway, you say, "I hope you enjoy writing the piece as much as I enjoyed playing it." I actually did enjoy writing this piece. Sullivan says, "I played the piece 3 times, all on my trumpet." Oh, you played 3 pieces on your trumpet, but you liked mine the best. "You feel like this piece stood out because it had nice, loud, and soft parts." And then Sullivan goes on to say why he likes loud and soft parts. "I think I like this because I'm pretty good at playing loud and soft." So, good for you, Sullivan. Emma says, "I was supposed to scream at the concert. The song was very fun and made me smile." I hope you were the one who got to scream then at the concert. Neat. Vanessa says, "When you put the horn, the auga horn, which some of you called a duck horn, I'm not sure why, but you say when you put the horn in the piece, when you first played the song with the horn, it made everybody start to laugh, including you, because you thought that the horn was a duck and that there was a duck in the band room." Oh my. Actually, some other video, maybe I'll tell you about the time we had a groundhog in one of our band rooms in the school district in which I teach. But moving on, Cole says, "My favorite part is the duck horn. It sounded like a gassy fart." Ew. Okay, well anyway, Cole, thank you for the compliment, I think. Heath says, 7th grade band, oh, you also like the piece from 26 to 41, how the trumpets have the melody. And yeah, and that's something I try to do, is I try to give every instrument group some interesting parts, not necessarily always the main melody, but if I can create something of interest for every instrument group in a piece, I feel like I'm doing a good thing. Because everybody's working so hard, they all deserve to have some cool stuff to play. Sydney says, "First off, I love your piece." Thank you, Sydney. Ghost in the Graveyard. That was the piece of yours we played. "My favorite measures are measures 14, 16, and 52. Huh. I wonder why Sydney likes measure 52. She is a clarinet player, it says here. So I wonder why Sydney liked measure 52. Anyway. Thank you, Sydney. Natalie says, "It's my favorite piece, not just because it is one of the few Halloween songs. It has lots of flair. And I play the trombone, and it gives us joy because people actually looked at us." And you say, "Last year, no one looked at the trombones. They were too focused on the clarinets." Maybe Sydney. I don't know. Braden says, "This is my favorite piece because it went from high to low, and it was loud." And he has 4 exclamation points there. And write back, please. And Braden, I hope this video will do. I'm not going to write the letter since I'm making the video, but I wanted to respond. And there are so many other things too. For instance, some of you wrote letters that spoke to the inspiration for the piece. Why did I write the piece? For instance, Marianne says, "I was curious why what pushed you to write the piece. What was the inspiration?" And I'll tell you why. At one of the elementary schools where I teach beginner band, 1st and 2nd year band in my school district, which is the Parkland School District in Allentown, Pennsylvania, So at that elementary school, they used to play a game around Halloween called Ghosts in the Graveyard. The teachers would come in on Saturday morning before the week of Halloween, and we would decorate the gym with like tombstones and smoke machines and black lights. And it was basically like this really neat haunted house sort of game that the gym teachers, several gym teachers in our district played it, but especially this one fella, Ed Rabinold, just went to town on it. And the kids look forward to that week more than probably any week of the entire school year. And I wrote the song in honor of that. And I wrote it actually for my band to play years ago. Anyway, Mackenzie also asks about the inspiration for Ghosts in the Graveyard. She also asks, do I have pets? And a couple of you asked that. And I grew up with pets. My mom has 2 dogs, 2 cats. Always had lots of pets in my life, but my wife is severely allergic. So the Watsons, where I live, we do not have pets, but I love pets. And why do I like to write? I don't know. I can't imagine not writing. It's just part of who I am. Daniela says, what instrument do I play? Well, I was a trumpet player when from 4th grade on, and then in college, just like your band directors, we have to learn to play all the instruments. So I do play all the instruments, but I'm best at trumpet, and maybe piano is a close second. And what else? Janie, I hope I'm pronouncing that, Jaine, says, I really hope that they will write, that I will write back. Hope this will do. Don't forget, I am your fan. I'll never forget it, Janie. 2 questions. How many instruments do you play? You heard that answer, and what kind? What was it difficult for you to make this piece? Please answer my questions. I really hope that I will play more of your pieces in the future. I hope you will too. This piece actually I wrote pretty quickly. I started writing it actually when I was thinking about that game when I was riding in my car, and I just sang into my cell phone some of the main themes and rhythmic accompaniments. I just got the idea when I was driving around, didn't want to forget it. I actually do that quite often. And then I was able to spill it out onto the score. I sketched it first and then wrote it in some music notation software called Finale, but I was able to do that pretty quickly. So I would say start to finish, this was maybe something that took me maybe 2 weeks of, a couple evenings and Saturday mornings to write. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. I'm going to, since so many of you are asking what instrument I play, I'm going to ask you all a question there in the Pacific Middle School Band. And my question is a trick question, but the question goes like this. What's the easiest instrument to play, and what's the hardest instrument to play? And I'll give you the answer near the end of this video. Okay. Some of you said that you hope I will write more pieces like Ghosts in the Graveyard, and you also ask about maybe playing some of my compositions in the future, which I hope you will. So representative of all of those, I got letters from James, Cameron, Grant, Connor, Mason, Braxton, Emily, Moises, Joey, Alexa, and more, who all said some form of, I hope that in the future you'll make more pieces like this. And I just wanted to share that I have a piece that's about the same level as Ghost in the Graveyard called Up on a Haunted Housetop. And it basically takes the Up on the Housetop Christmas tune and gives it a clever twist. It has a narrator part though, and it sort of tells a neat story, and it's kind of like a don't judge a book by its cover narration that has to do with this haunted house, but actually being a warm home for a family. But it's spooky, and it sort of has the same sound as Ghost in the Graveyard.
Once on a spooky Christmas Eve, a Santa was making deliveries. A fog rolled in and howls rang out as Santa landed on a haunted house.
Also, if a little bit harder, a piece I wrote, setting of Johann Goethe's poem, Der Erlkonig, or The Erlking, which is a really spine-tingling, scary story. If you ever get a chance to read the poem, it'll blow your mind. It's a great poem. And a lot of composers have set this story. There's no singing or words or anything in my version. It's my original music, but it's supposed to portray the story of the Erlkonig, which is this kind of like the Headless Horseman kind of a thing, where there's a guy riding in a forest at night and thinks he's being pursued. So those 2 pieces, Der Erlkonig and Up on a Haunted Housetop, but maybe I'll write another similar to Ghosts in the Graveyard as well. I'm going to just, let's see, Caden also, I'd love it if you would write another piece with similar attributes. And I love the cartoons at the bottom of the page. Caden, thank you very much for those neat drawings. And Callie says, in addition to it's a favorite composition, she says, I would love to know more about you. I think you are a great composer, one of the best. Well, that's awfully flattering, and there are so many very fine composers. Anyway, what do you think of your favorite song you ever composed? Well, since you asked, I would say my favorite song, one of my favorite songs. Whenever I get a chance to guest conduct, I'll choose to conduct a piece called Aesop's Fables, and I like the piece a lot. It also has narration. I like doing collaborative things like that. And I just really enjoyed the commission. It was a commission for Westchester University Wind Ensemble, and it's published by Alfred. It's a grade 5 piece, so it's quite hard, but I love conducting it. I love when bands play it. It's one I'm very proud of. So if somebody asks me, like, what's a piece that you can get to know my music by, that's usually the piece I point them to. It's just the next question is kind of weird, but you have food on the brain, Callie. What is my favorite food? Well, I'll tell you, pizza probably would be just, I love it. I could always eat pizza, especially pepperoni pizza. I love having leftover turkey sandwiches the day after Thanksgiving, too. That's a real favorite of mine. Mary Lee writes to me, and this is sort of like wrapping things up. She says, are you working on a piece currently? Yes, I am. I'm working on a number of commissions. I don't want to go into it, but I'll just say that, yeah, I'm always working on, like, this current publication cycle, new pieces of mine that will be published next year by publishers, mostly by Alfred Music, my main publisher. I think I have 7 pieces coming out, and that's a pretty aggressive year for me, 7 or 8. I've had 8. Normal year is more like 3 to 5, and I think this current year is going to be somewhere around 5 or 6. So anyway, I am working on other music at all levels, too, some beginning band, some middle, intermediate level, and some older band pieces. I love this, Mary Lee. You're so complimentary. I hope you continue to write music because you're so good at it. I hope you are having a good day. I am now because of your letter, Mary Lee. Milana says, thank you so much for this composition. I enjoy to play your music, and I really enjoy reading your letter and all the letters from your bandmates in the Pacific Middle School band. So thank you, Chris and Chelsea, for sending the writings of your students and sharing that with me, and thank you for programming my music. I know it's an honor because there are so many great composers I admire and program myself, and of all of those, for you to choose my own music is a real honor, and I thank you very much for it. Anyway, Pacific Middle School Band, thanks for the letters, and have a good day. Well, I said I'd be back at the end of this video to tell you the answer to my question. What is the easiest instrument to play? Well, the easiest instrument to play is the one you practice. So practice hard. Wishing you guys all the best.